So I've been working on finishing up this forward section of this lower part of the plywood here, and as I talked about, I had to put these on in pieces to get them to, you know, bend on there a little easier because the complexity of the curves here. But I just wanted to show you, I just got done putting this piece on. I put those two on last night, and then now this morning I'm getting this piece on. But I just wanted to show you, at least you think I'm not getting them glued on there adequately, all the squeeze out of the epoxy, the epoxy here. And I'll clean this up now, of course, but yeah. See, we've got absolute bonding everywhere around there to both the hull and the pieces of plywood adjacent to it. So yeah, that should be pretty robust. And I'll get that excess cleaned off now, and then yeah, other than putting this little piece in here, we're done up here. Now we got this strip to go back, which is going to be significantly easier. But yeah, I'll get this cleaned up, then we'll keep at it. Hello and welcome back to the boat shop. Today is the 14th of February 2024, and making progress here. As you can see, I got these pieces all glued in. This one here, like I said, I want to cut it into strips to get it bent on there properly. And once this epoxy is fully cured, you know, we'll pull these screws and I'll sand this, and then I'll have to put a layer of fiberglass over it once it's up there, which should be interesting because I haven't tried that. Now this is not quite an overhead environment, but it's, you know, beyond vertical, so it might be a little challenging to get fiberglass cloth stuck on there. And of course, that's why we're putting fiberglass cloth on now, or on the pieces before we apply the pieces of plywood, simply because it's significantly easier. So anyway, we're going to get a shot at putting fiberglass on in here too. This is closer to vertical, so this should be a little easier. One of the things I thought about when I was contemplating this was spraying the planking with a little bit of that 3M or any version of contact adhesive. Just putting a light film of that on, and then putting the glass cloth on that, and then saturating from outside. Now that's not the best way to do it. You really don't want to, you know, just saturate the cloth from the outside of the cloth. You want to put epoxy on the wood first, then the glass cloth. But like I said, I don't know. It was things I was contemplating. It would have been interesting to see how that worked, but I think this is a better way of doing it. We're definitely going to get a stronger adhesion to the plywood this way. You know, raw plywood and then epoxy and then fiberglass and more epoxy. And we'll do that here too, but we're just going to have to try to stick it up there somehow. I don't know. On my smaller boat, when I built that one, I had some cases where I was putting cloth up and then the cloth wanted to sag on me or run down a little bit. Now I wasn't doing anything overhead because I had the hull inverted in that boat, but yeah, this one's not quite that convenient. We can't flip this thing around like a smaller boat. But anyway, I used some stick push pins, you know, in several places to help hold it up there, and I don't know if that's going to work here or not. It'll probably help, but I don't know if that fiberglass cloth is going to stick. That 10-ounce cloth may be a little too heavy to stick into that. I don't know. We'll see. I guess if I have to, I could get some vacuum bagging stuff and sealing tape and tape it there, and then put some vacuum on it to... Yeah, I don't know if that would work or not. Yeah, anyway, we'll worry about that when we get to it, I guess. I guess if I have to, I could get some lighter cloth, some 6-ounce cloth or something, and put a couple layers of it on if I wanted to. We'll see. But anyway, so yeah, this is going all right. And I got this up yesterday. So, and you can see here now this notch here, and we'll start working backwards from here. And I've got that next piece already cut and fit, and in the first layer of, well, the only layer of glass cloth, but the first couple layers of epoxy on here. So tomorrow this will get trimmed up, sanded lightly, washed, sanded lightly, and then another layer of epoxy goes on here. And I've been having pretty decent luck with these new rollers. Either one of them are working pretty well, giving me a much better surface than I was getting before. So that's good. All right, that's about the extent of what we've got going on down here. And in here, I've been working on this door going into the engine room. Let me get some lights on in here. And there you can see the door. Now, obviously it's not finished and all yet, but yeah, that's the door. I was surprised at how heavy it is. It was really heavy. Now I did have one issue here, and you know, you've probably all seen those movies, videos on the internet, you know, idiots at work. Well, I think maybe I'm eligible for that too. Because when I put this door in here, originally I'd planned on putting it opening in here, and I decided it might as well just have it open inside. But the problem is we didn't have enough clearance for the door inside. So yeah, idiots at work, me included. Why I didn't think about that on this door, I don't know. I thought about that ahead of time on both of these doors. In fact, I you know, made these doors so that they would specifically, you know, fit inside that one at least. This one here wasn't going to be an issue because it's not as wide, but so yeah, so I had two options here. I could lower this whole thing and cut the door a little bit smaller, or I could just cut a little notch out here. So I cut the little notch. I cut the little notch out here, and I quickly sanded it and painted it so it wouldn't be so noticeable. Rounded the edges so you don't crack your skull on it when you go through. Actually, it gives me just about enough. Not quite. It's probably about 6 feet 1 right here, about 6 feet and a quarter here. So I had to take about 3/4 of an inch out of there. But that's plenty strong the way it is. That's not going to be an issue. So that was the lesser or the easier remedy for the door. And, you know, theoretically, I could have still got in. Right, it was getting in. I mean, the door opens that far, you could still get in there. But, yeah, if you're carrying anything in or out of there, it's, you know, you're going to want it to open a little farther. You know, and some of you may wonder why I have this designed like this, and this isn't the way George drew the plans for these deck beams in here. He had the thing framed up with the big hatch in the middle, so you know, what do they call it, a soft patch in the middle, so that you could get the engine out of it up into the pilot house someday if you had to. Well, I got to measuring things on this engine, and first of all, there's enough room in here that you could do a in situ overhaul of this engine. I mean, it wouldn't be difficult at all. And with these big beams up here, you could pull the, you know, put a chain hoist in here and pull the engine block up a couple feet so you could get at the pan and whatnot, and still work on it and do a, you know, an overhaul while it's in place. But that said, I mean, sometimes you need to get the block out to, you know, to ream it, or, well, not to ream it, but to bore it if you needed to put oversized pistons in an engine. But the block is narrow enough, we can get the block through here, and being a 4-cylinder, I would think a couple guys could probably handle it. If not, 3 or 4 guys could handle it and just carry it up and out. The block, not the whole engine. Take the heads off and everything else. But so I didn't really see the need for that soft patch up here, and I thought it was maybe more important to have some heavy beams in here. keep the pilot house a little better supported. But yeah, these are 4x6 beams, and let me tell you, cutting into these and working on this stuff here, this is good wood. This stuff is really impressively hard, and we got fairly tight growth rings, and yeah, this is a good wood. So yeah, this should provide all sorts of support for the pilot house up above. Anyway, so that's where we are here. I got this door in place, and it's doing fine. Still don't know what I'm going to do for latches. I may go for just a regular weenie type of latch like I did on the doors over here, and then put a couple of top and bottom, put a couple of cam latches or something to pull the door tight. But that's something I can wait with too until we get the boat functional. If I think we've got engine noise or whatever coming in here, then we can deal with it. The engine room, when the engine's running, should be negative pressure. You have an exhaust fan pulling air out of the engine room, so it should be pulling any fumes or anything, into the engine room if there's any leaks around the door seals. So that shouldn't be an issue getting smells and stuff from the engine room in here, other than just nominal, while it's sitting type of smells, but there shouldn't be too much of that either. So that's all good, and that's ready to go. This is the area over here that I was talking about wanting to build some cabinets. And it's a pretty good size area. It's of course a little over 4 feet there, and it's going to run anywhere from probably 20 inches to maybe 28 inches deep over here, or even more if you consider going back here. But I'll probably put a couple of doors on it. I don't know, 4 doors, two big tall doors, 4 smaller doors. I don't know, we'll see. But yeah, this is where I wanted to get some storage built, and this is going to be easy storage, easy to get at storage. So I thought that would be handy for like putting tools and parts and equipment and whatnot while I'm working in the boat. Give me a place to store all that. Now I do have, some stuff up here in this forward cabin. But then of course when you decide you want to start working up here, doing things in here, then you don't want to have it full of stuff either. But so yeah, that's it's going all right. I guess that's where we are on the 14th of February 2024.